Greetings, and welcome to A Year of Movies, a Planet Geek production. For this project, we are using the Ivan Walters reference book of 365 films to watch on the day they happened. Each day, we watch a movie associated with the date we are watching it on.
And as it is the 22nd of August, we are going to be watching Dog Day Afternoon from 1975, directed by Sidney Lumet and starring Al Pacino. So to begin with, this is one of my personal favorite movies of Al Pacino from his early days in his career. It's actually probably one of the earliest movies that I actually saw of him at probably a time when I was probably a little too young to get the full aspect of what was actually going on in this movie. But that being said, I have seen it several times, and it was a delight to rewatch it for this project. Like I already mentioned, not only does this movie star Al Pacino, but it also stars John Cazale, Charles Durning, James Broderick, Lance Hendrickson, and Chris Sarandon. When inexperienced criminal Sonny Wartzik, played by Al Pacino, leads a bank robbery in Brooklyn, things quickly go wrong, and a hostage situation develops. As Sonny and his accomplice, Sal Natural, played by John Cazale, try desperately to remain in control, a media circus develops, and the FBI arrive, creating even more tension. Gradually, Sonny's surprising motivations behind the robbery are revealed, and his standoff with law enforcement moves towards its inevitable end. So, like I had mentioned earlier, this is definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite performance that I've seen of Al Pacino. If you want the example of why Pacino is considered the fantastic actor that he has grown to be in the lexicon of his career, this is the movie to find out, oh, this is why this guy is such a fantastic actor. A lot of his roles, the role itself, he has a delivery that seems very, not quite rehearsed, but definitely has an improv feel to it. Again, when you're acting, you're dealing with acting against your reaction against your fellow actors and whatnot. But Pacino's delivery of his lines and his actions seem to be in a state of improvisation that makes it look so realistic. And that's not to say anyone else in this movie does a bad job of acting. It's just that Pacino, as the main core of this movie, does such a fantastic job of making this Sonny feel as realistic as possible that one can do up on film. And again, the movie itself is based on an actual event. And this is how the actual situation played out and how it ended. But from the get-go, Pacino is just charming when he wants to be charming, coarse when he needs to be coarse. And you know what? He's a smart man, even though he seems to be in over his head at a lot of points during this movie. He always seems to find a way out of it. The cast that are his hostages do a fantastic job. We have a mainly female cast that are trapped in this situation, who, through sympathy, become more sympathetic to both Sonny and Sal's plight. Charles Durning as the Sergeant already, just standing on the edge of losing total control of the situation, which he eventually does, but the struggle for him to keep control of the situation, to keep everything at a level, is just also a masterpiece of acting as well. And I can't say enough times, every single time I watch this movie, I keep forgetting about Lance Hendrickson being in this movie. He shows up very late in the movie, and every single time he does, the doe-eyed young face of early 1970s Lance Hendrickson is just a wonder to see. And the performance of Chris Sarandon in a role that I hadn't realized it was him till like much later on, after several watches of it, to realize who it was. It probably wasn't until after watching like the first original Fright Night that I realized, why does this guy look familiar? And then later on realized, oh my God, it's Jack Skellington. And while the movie is definitely dated to the 70s, Sidney Lumet still does a fantastic job of basically almost a bottled situation. I mean, 90% of this movie takes place in one location. And he does a fantastic job of almost every single other shot or scene getting a different angle of what is basically a rectangular room, showing it from different angles and wonderfully capturing the mood of the situation as the day carries on. And when I say day carries on, the actual events of this movie all take place on August 22nd, 1972, which is, well, the entire movie, which just happens to be 2 hours and 5 minutes long. And when it came to the Academy Awards for that particular season, it ended up winning for original screenplay, as well as being nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Al Pacino, Best Supporting Actor for Chris Sarandon, and Best Film Editing. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this particular episode and look off into the future to see what we're going to watching for tomorrow, which is the 23rd of August, and that is going to be The Bourne Identity from 2002. So until next time, go see a movie.